So
Oh.
hopefully we got our smudge on, and I'm pretty envious of that lady with that smudge stick, but
Yeah,
that's
me too.
so we're gonna be
Anyhow,
we're gonna be talking today about the medicine wheel and its significance, in kind of lots of different little ways. Um, so what is the medicine wheel? I think being from Wyoming, I think we're familiar uh, with the medicine wheels that we have up there in the mountains. Um, that it's for lots of different purposes. We still use those today, and people from all over travel there just to see those medicine wheels that are actually in the mountains. And some of them have uh, astronomical alignments. There's lots of offerings left up there, um, and it's a real sacred place, especially for us people and our native people. Um, so and it's probably something that is worth making a trip there. It's right there, and it's available for us to visit those places. So I have here a couple of uh, different. There's all types of different medicine wheels. There's all of our tribes. We all have our different um, significant animals that we put on the wheel. Um, we all have different things that we put on the wheel based on our locations. Um, so, for example, the Navajo here in New Mexico, they have a wheel and they put um, different plants on there, and they put different colors, and they have different symbolism and things that are culturally and tribally specific. But it's all significant, and and the way I look at the medicine wheel is that there's lots of different ways of putting it together for different reasons, um, and of course we're just sort of developing and kind of coming up with this concept, um, and that's something that we're working on right now, trying to figure out and flesh out what does our medicine wheel look like. And so that's still in the we're still in the process of that, and but I think we have a pretty good start on it. So let's see, did I go backwards here? Oh, there we go. So this is the what we've kind of come up with our for our Shoshone medicine wheel, and it's there's a lot there. It's pretty busy, and it but it uh, so we can start with first of all um, taking a look at the colors. So the colors, for our wheel is a little different. We've got yellow in the east, red in the south, blue in the west, and then we've got green in the north. And green is a really interesting color for us to have on the wheel, because we're used to seeing the white on there, um, and it's still I think it still could be representative of the north just because of the snow and the winter time, the season and stuff. So, but as I understand it, green was traditionally the color. Um, So there's, like I said, there's a lot there, um, a lot to talk about, and it's really something that will take a lot of time to work on and develop. Um, so I sat down with Curtis, and we kind of came up with this, and I wrote down took notes and created this wheel here, um, that includes a lot of information, like dances that we used to do in those times of the year. Um, so like right now we're in winter time, and we're kind of of course thinking about coming out of winter time into springtime. But right now, and if we look at the winter season in the north, um, right now would be the time when we'd be doing storytelling, which is of course something that we have been doing, um, as a program, and then it's also something that uh, was a time when we did these specific dances, like the giveaway dance, war bonnet dance, and blanket dance, and so those would be done in this time of year, um, for certain reasons, and I I haven't learned enough about the reasons why, um, but I'm sure that that's information that we need to gather, and and we need to share that. Um, so part of the reason for wanting to get this written down and to study it is because uh, time is of the essence here, and we want to get this information and learn it and share it, and teach our people, and teach ourselves and our families uh, why this stuff is where it is and what it's all about. So as we move on, look at the east. um, there's of course different dances there and different activities that we do. So like storytelling in the winter time, in the springtime, we're going to be getting outside, and we're going to be doing things like gathering roots, and we're going to start to do a little bit more outdoors, um, and of course, and getting out there um, and doing these activities that are associated with just the warmer weather. Um, and then as we get into summertime, of course, that's when we have our most significant um, spiritual uh, event is the sun dance, and all summer sort of builds up to that. Um, and then the dancers themselves are preparing for that all summer long, and maybe even all springtime, um, preparing for that, and then we have also some other dances that are a part of that. So, but this is our wheel, and you know, I, I, I'd be interested in sharing that with people, and also continuing to develop it as much as we can. So, um, just sort of from a little easier to focus on this here with the East, um, and just what it means, and what is it about here. Um, so the East represents the stage of life, infant or birth to infancy, up through, like a elementary age. Um, and it's associated with, like we were talking about, the springtime. Um, and I always like putting emotional uh, in that area because um, they think that's corresponds with that age pretty well. That's the way um, babies make it known that they need help, is that they use their emotions. They don't have the words yet, um, and that's how we know, hey, something's going on. Um, the baby's crying, and the baby crying means they're either hungry, or they're cold, or they are tired, or they need a diaper change or something. Something's going on, and the only way that they can communicate that is through their emotions. So that's why I like to put that in that area, and in the East. So kind of the number one thing that they are um, working on, or the lesson, the teaching of that direction, is this idea of illumination. And illumination really is like uh, also associated easily with the sunrise. We're shining the light on something, maybe for the first time, and it's a teaching that we are wanting to, we're having that sort of aha moment, like, oh, this is going on. um, and for the first time, it's illuminated, and we can clearly see it, and then we can start to do something about it. So a lot of times this could be a problem, and we're just identifying it for the first time. And that doesn't mean we immediately have all the answers, because we're not there yet. We're just starting out, and we're just identifying the problem. So this can be really helpful for us, because maybe for the first time, I'm going to go ahead and uh, acknowledge that, hey, I've got a problem. I need to do something about it. And I don't know what to do about it yet, but at least I know it's a problem. And so I'm going to start off on this new journey and get started here. So if we're just maybe identifying a problem, that's probably where we'd put it in the East. Is I'm just new to this. It's the first time I'm ever even acknowledging this. So as we move on from there to the south, um, of course, this is associated with the older um, person. So this is the young adult, and they're entering this summertime of their life. So everything we associate with the that stage of life, you know, maybe being physically the strongest and healthiest they're ever going to be. Um, they're growing into this uh, capable being, um, and so and a lot of times, what we associate with that age is experimentation, and a lot of times that's what it's about for teenagers and young adults. Is I'm going to try this and see what happens. I want to try to do this, um, and it's trial and error. And a lot of times, that's what it's all about. I'm going to see if I can go off and go to school, um, and then I'm going to finish up here and maybe it's gonna get me into a career, or I'm gonna get some training, and here I go. So it's about um, getting out there and doing things. and it's sort of like you get your driver's license, and all of a sudden you have your driver's license and you're out there and you're interacting with other people out there on the road, and you need to learn to do it in a good way, right? And um, we don't want to be out there just um, breaking all the traffic rules. We need to figure out how to do it safely, um, and kids learn that pretty fast. Probably the first time they get a ticket or anything like that, that's a big wake up call. Hey, there's other people out here, and I need to be safe. So really, uh, thinking about this stage of life, it's about integration and putting things to test. To putting things into our world that hopefully are going to be something that we're going to be successful in. Um, and so moving on from there, we go to the west, and we follow that same uh, development of the human being into an adult. And so by this time, the person has uh, figured some things out and kind of got going, and maybe has made a living um, in their work and in their families, and so really the focus here is on mental health, um, and that's really the focus here is am I happy doing what I'm doing, and uh, am I where I want to be, and so there's a lot of introspection there, is kind of like looking within and asking ourselves, hey, am I doing what I really want to do? And there's still time to change it. If we decide, hey, I want to change it, then I'm going to just take a chance and I'm going to do it, because ultimately that's sort of like the goal is to be happy with our lives and to do something that we love, um, and also um, to be successful in lots of different areas of our life. Um, so this is a stage where we also start to get a lot of responsibility, and we're really responsible for the previous two stages of life. The adult is the caretaker of those, and a lot of times the caretaker even for the elder. Um, so there's a lot of responsibilities, and this is kind of an important and probably one of the stage of life where you really have the most responsibility, and so it does take a lot of effort to to keep it all together. Um, so it's important to be able to have a way of coping with all the stress that we have to endure as adults. So, um, and then moving on from there to the north, um, that's where we have um, the spiritual realm is placed up there in the north, and that it really corresponds with the winter time, and all of the wisdom that goes along with being an elder, and so that's of course a stage where we want to be able to reflect on our lives and look back and 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 we all kind of aspire to reach that level. So, sort of the significance of that whole thing, the medicine wheel, and the things we place on the wheel, it really kind of comes back down to our beliefs and what do we put on our wheels, um, and why is it placed where it is, and it really helps us to kind of form an understanding of who we are. That's kind of at the core of this, is who am I, and where am I at in my development, because a lot of times we might have some setbacks, and we might kind of find ourselves uh, maybe uh, developing at a little bit slower pace, and we need to figure out the steps to kind of catch up. Um, and the only thing that's relevant there is our own understanding of ourselves. Um, and so these are just some ideas of the things that are a part of the medicine wheel that we can look at and use them as tools for um, reference points, assessment. Um, Really, it's about interconnection, and all of these things are are concepts that are a part of the wheel, and that we can learn um, about here. So okay, so if we're moving on from that sort of understanding, that that's really a foundation of of the core of our beliefs. Um, but we can use this wheel to really illustrate, and we can. It's a dynamic, and it's not a static model, but it's something that we can use, and we can grow and change and um, put it to use. So one of the best examples that's most relevant to us is uh, the 12 steps of that's been developed by the White Bison program, and these are kind of reworded, and they're a little different than the 12 steps, but they have the basic idea. It's just reworded a little bit, but we have uh, the first three steps here in the east, and and of course, the next three are there in the south, and then it just goes around from there. Um, and those are a way of kind of um, following along, that we're learning to uh, go through this whole process. It's a whole process of recovery, and a way of understanding um, our problems, and then working through it, um, and then hopefully, you know, coming out um, at the other end, at the final step, and being able to maintain and help people out. So one of the most important things about this model is that um, we're never done with it, and that was something that uh, Don Cohese said. When you what do you do when you get to the end? You're not done. You start over again. And we just keep working on things, because uh, we nobody's perfect, and we always have things that we have to work on. Um, and so I like that model. Um, this is a little different model here. So um, this is just to kind of look at some of the most common um, mental health issues that we have, and so one of them is on uh, our emotional state. You know, when we feel worried, we're under a lot of stress, and and so it's essentially anxiety that we're bothered with. So in the east, there, our emotional state is we're feeling all those negative emotions. We're having a lot of um, it's bothering us, and then as we move to the south, our physical state, we see that we have all these symptoms. Maybe we can't sleep. We have a lot of muscle tension, headaches, stomach aches, indigestion, and we have that whole uh, acronym there at the bottom is that commercial. We have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. You know that whole thing. That's um, and then we what does that do to our mental health? It it causes us to have these symptoms where we're forgetful, we get confused, we forget, you know, maybe we forget even what we're doing or where we were going. Um, our mind is racing. Maybe we can't completely focus on something. We get lost in our tasks. Um, and then and then as we move to the north, what is it? What is this emotional state? What does it do to our spiritual health and our spiritual state? It it causes us to feel disconnected. Um, we don't feel good about ourselves. Um, maybe we um, even develop this idea of like the imposter syndrome, for example, that we're um, maybe maybe we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. We sort of start to doubt ourselves, um, and that can cause us to really be shut down. So if this is going on, and that's how we're feeling, um, what can help us are these grounding techniques. Um, so the emotional grounding is um, doing some positive self-talk, for example. um, Maybe we sit down and do some self-soothing activity, and try to help us to get our minds off of that, and it's really coping with that negative emotion. And then physical grounding can help us, and it helps us through mindfulness, and helping us to do something with that energy that we're feeling, that uh, the negative energy has a place to go, and maybe we're able to release that. Um, and then as we go around from there, we can do some mental grounding, and that's going to help us maybe through visualizing some positive place or a safe place. Um, and it's really going to take our mind also off of maybe these negative uh, visions that we're having, or these negative imaginations that we're having. Maybe we're imagining um, these negative scenarios, or replaying these negative images in our minds, or negative memories, and going to help us create and kind of change that into something positive. And then spiritual grounding, that's um, it's something that we do. Smudging is probably the best example of that, um, where we ground ourselves, we cleanse the air, and kind of are able to um, start something fresh. It's sort of like hitting the refresh button, or hitting um, the reset button, and it really helps us to kind of focus and get going on with whatever it is that we're doing. So so this next example too is real similar, but um, at the center there is the center direction, and so this model is actually a little bit expanded because it has these extra directions um, in it, and it sort of like changes it, maybe brings it to life a little bit. Um, so in this model, we have actually the center direction, which is inside of us. So, and if we're succeeding in these four areas, then we're gonna feel balanced, and we're gonna feel in harmony um, with our emotions, our wherever we are physically, wherever we are mentally, and then spiritually, and that's really the place to be. So we want to feel that harmony and that balance, um, and then that's going to also apply to these other directions. Above us, below us, uh, behind us, and in front of us, and so it's all of those different directions. So this next one I'll skip over. It's real similar. But it's mainly just looking at a little different type of emotion, and it's really being overexcited or um, manic. So, so in that previous example, with anxiety, I think that how it looks in real life is, um, we have the feeling, and then the things that are the warning signs that are telling us, hey, something's going on, are these behaviors that we engage in. It could be, pacing the floor. A lot of times people are nervously tapping their fingers or shaking, um, chewing their nails. That's a real obvious sign that someone's really nervous or has a lot of anxiety. And then, of course, not being able to sleep at night. And maybe what's keeping them up are these racing thoughts, um, constant, feeling of dread or worry. And then, of course, that's going to have those spiritual um, ramifications where they're going to feel disconnected, and maybe just focus on grief and loss, um, feeling maybe like they don't belong, or anything that tells you, something's off, and you're not spiritually healthy. So one of the things about what we do, and it's really a benefit for Native people, is that we have our ceremonies, and it's always something that we can fall back on, um, which is, it's really a blessing that we have our ways, and it's really a way of getting back into balance. And so I have this quote here from black elk. Everything an Indian does is in a circle, and that's because the power of the world always works in circles. And and then you know, one of the critical things of our program is our talking circle, and really that's core, to our program. That's sort of like the one of the most critical things that we do. Um, so let me kind of pause there, and before we get into this next example here, did you guys have any comments or uh, any questions about what we've talked about so far?
So is this Shoshone medicine well is gonna be different than other tribes' medicine well? I thought there was only one medicine well. I didn't know there was different tribes have medicine wells. Didn't know that.
Yeah, there's pretty much every tribe has their different version, um, and it does have a lot to do with uh, what's in their environment, um, and the different colors. Those are also based on what's significant in their the meaning that they put behind the colors that they choose, and the symbolism of it. That
And
doesn't.
then I have another question about the animals on that circle. To the east was the eagle, and the bottom was a wolf, and then a bear, and then the buffalo. What's the
Yeah.
significance to the directions that they're sitting?
Um. Well, that one is based on the Lakota medicine wheel, and I don't think that we um, um,
Well, I think part of the reason why the animals are in there is the animal spirit is really like if there's a buffalo in a certain direction, that means that buffaloes are very abundant in how they provided for us. They provided clothing for us, they provided housing for us, they provided food for us, tools for us. So if you're going to place that buffalo somewhere on the medicine wheel, then it's going to be significant to that time, that stage of life, that stage of development, where this is a time for you to have a perspective of abundance, even sharing and giving, because that's what the buffalo does. The buffalo gives to us. So when you think about the eagle, and the eagle maybe being in the north, the eagle, again, has a different perspective, right? The eagle can see above us all. It can look down and it can see everything that's going on. But what the eagle can't do is see below on the ground as good as, say, like maybe the wolf or the mouse. There's two different perspectives. So when you're in those different areas where those animals might be, so if you're in the area of the wolf is very family orientated. They take care of their families. They make sure the families stay together. They're very protective. So if you put those animal spirits in that wheel somewhere, it's because they want you to have a certain perspective. Just like what John is saying, each one of the areas of the medicine wheel have a certain perspective, a certain stage of development, a certain stage of life that we are living in. And there are things that we are going through in our life that may reoccur again. We may be an adult, but we may need to come from that perspective of new learning again in the East, the sun rising, the ceremonies that go along with that connection maybe to just being young and innocent again. How do I learn something new and be open to something new? So that's how the animals are also put into the medicine wheel, is to have that perspective of what that animal offers to that area. That's how I was taught in the medicine wheel, that these medicine wheels are very complex and very, very much interconnected. I have so many wheels, they're stacked up on each other because there's so many teachings in the medicine wheel. And the idea of developing a medicine wheel like for the Shoshone people and having those colors that are significant to the Shoshone people, that gives you a sense of, like we always say, what is your sense of wellness, your sense of being? Who are you? Why are you? And where are you going? Just like John was saying, those things are important questions to ask ourselves anytime we're living in the medicine wheel.
And I think like for the colors, not all of us have those same colors.
Right, we don't.
Like on that the first, when I walked in, the first one, whatever.
The white, yellow.
Yeah.
Well, and so, I mean, the white, the yellow, the red and the black are significant to the human race. The white man, the red man, the yellow man, and the black man. And the gifts that the Creator gave to us in each one of those, the 4 colors of man and woman. So then what is the gift that was given to the white man that he contributes to the wellness of that circle? What's the gift that was given to the yellow man that contributes to what was each one of the gifts that we were given that contribute to our overall wellness as a human race? And that's why that medicine wheel was designated that way. So when Koyas started to develop this 12-step program and this Wellbriety program, he got together with all kinds of elders from all different races, or I should say all different ethnicities and cultures. And it was strange because they built this wheel of feathers and they had to get like 100 feathers together. And this was going to be the gathering of Native Americans, Gona.
I seen that hoop.
Yeah, that hoop is
got
beautiful.
To meet Koya stuff in our New Year's powwow up there at Nara, and I got to back up the singers when they brought the hoop in. And he had young adults bring it in, young people bring that in, and then we dropped. I can't remember if it was cedar, but we dropped some through the top, and then it landed on a red cloth. And then he gathered that up, and it was so cool, like that hoop. It was really like powerful,
Well, they're all eagle feathers.
Yeah.
Every one of the feathers that are on that hoop are eagle feathers. And the significance of the eagle feathers is that we come from all directions to meet for the same purpose. And that's that idea of community healing and wellness, and coming from the same mindset that we all are in this place of wanting to be better than what we are right now or what we were before. It's this idea of being the best that you can be in the moment that you're in, while sharing that with a lot of other people that want to do the same thing. So we don't feel alone in this world that we only see bad. There is good. So it's an amazing journey being in the medicine wheel and living in that, and in the medicine wheel, it's a whole different way of really being. Well, and I think one other thing too, John, is in the perspective of the medicine wheel, which is so great because it is in a circle and it's continuing. It doesn't ever stop. Sometimes we can even look at the medicine wheel as we don't take steps back. We're just relearning something we may have already been taught, like you said. It's this idea of now I'm getting better at it. So practice and more practice gets us to a better place, a more comfortable place. So even in this idea of having fears and making mistakes and relearning something, the idea is that the older we get, the more mature we get in our age, the more developed we become and more confident we are in our ability. So each time we go around that medicine wheel, we're learning and learning and learning more and more about ourselves as we do develop. And that's what I like about the medicine wheel and living in the medicine wheel, because I've been living in this medicine wheel for so long now, it doesn't take much effort to do it. It's just that simple. And the medicine wheels are so complex. You can have them, like I said, you can have so many of them and come from a professional identity with it, a personal identity with it, and just always bringing new things into your comfort zone in your learning and in your teaching, and like you're saying, and then giving this away as a gift, because that's really what this was meant to be. It's a gift to be given, that we can share it with anybody in any place in their life, as long as they are ready to accept and be open in any time and anywhere on that wheel. And being part of that center is being able to just stand in the center with the creator, whatever your belief and your value is, and look around and see life in everything, and understand that everything that you're experiencing, all those things that you're talking about, all this interconnectedness that you have, is how you're developing to be that person that you want to be someday, that vision of who you want to be. And that's what I like about being able to develop medicine wheels on top of each other, layer them as complex as they can be, because you can do that with this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think we can kind of develop our own personal medicine wheel, you know, and it's whatever we choose to um, represent maybe what we're going through, or what our experience has been. You know, and I don't think there's any harm in that. And I think it's a good thing to kind of have some connection, to just to understand, well, this is me, and this is what I'm about, and this is my, maybe this is my favorite color, you know, and it's not something that's typical, but this is me, and this is what represents me. um um and it's okay, you know, like some people might have a little different version, and they might have some reasons for that, and maybe it's going to make a lot of sense, um and it's just going to help us to understand who we are even better. So um but I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stop the recording for now here, but thanks everyone for participating and sharing, and